This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. It's Friday again and it's blue sky, and we're about to record the Research Talks podcast here on Stockbox with Alan Green. Welcome back, Alan. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Mark. I'm glad it's blue sky where you are because it's grey and overcast here. But I think the weather is going to improve a bit over the weekend, so I'm hopeful.
Good. Yes, it's that time of year where you're lulled into a nice day outside because it's, you see the blue sky, the sun's in the window, the house is warm. You go outside, it's still a little bit nippy, but at least I'm getting the blue sky. I hope it comes your way soon, and spring hopefully on the way. My wife's allergies have started, so that's a sign that the pollen, the early tree pollen is coming out. So not pleasant for her, but a positive sign that spring is on the way anyway.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it is. That's of course the byproduct. Insects and pollen and goodness knows what else. But yeah, it's also the best time of year for us, for all of us in the northern hemisphere, because of course the evenings get long, and that's when you really get the most out of a day. So I think we're all looking forward to that.
Indeed. Okay, so Tertiary Minerals today, and also sovereign metals. So you want to give us the investment case for Tertiary? You want to start with?
Let's start with Tertiary. Yes, of course. Now, I've worked with the people at Tertiary for many years, and I know the company well. And of course, those that know the company will know that it was for many years a fluorspar company, and had and still has, in fact, on its back burner several fluorspar assets. But of course, that's not what the investment case at Tertiary is about nowadays. So the company has developed some assets in Nevada, which I'm going to go through in a minute, and also most recently acquired some assets in Zambia. So I'm going to go through each one. Currently, the shares are trading at 0.23 of a pence. They've been as high on the year as 0.5p and as low as 0.15p. The company undertook a fundraising in January. It raised $500,000 and another $100,000 in a broker option, where brokers engaged with and brought their clients in and retail investors at 0.17p. So the company is fully funded for its activities in 2022. Patrick Cheetham has been the long-standing exec chairman at the group, and following the departure of long-standing MD Richard Clemmy last year, the company engaged a new MD, Patrick Cullen, and I have interviewed Patrick several times. If you go to the Brand UK website, look at the Tertiary Minerals page, you'll see several interviews that I've undertaken with Patrick, most recently last week. So what's Tertiary about nowadays? Well, it has a number of assets in Nevada in an area called the Walker Lane Gold Belt, and Nevada is one of the most prolific states for mining, certainly in the USA and the world. It has many of the world's global conglomerates operating there, Barrick Gold as one, and the company's assets are spread across the area. The most prolific asset to date for Tertiary is the Pyramid silver and gold project. This is in an area close to the Ruth mine, and certainly the area is well explored. Lots of exploration history in the region. The Ruth mine area was explored by Battle Mountain Gold in the 1980s, and 10 drill holes were completed then, and some decent grades were extracted. And most recently, the company has been working on a series of trenching activities and soil sampling activities at Pyramid, and it announced in June last year that it had discovered a wide, thick silver zone at the Pyramid project, at the North Ruth asset within the Pyramid area, and the the company noted at the time it was a very exciting find, and they discovered a significant width of silver mineralization in situ. This was then extended in October. The company noted that the silver trending zone had extended to at least 530 meters, and the grades from sampling at the assets revealed 595 grams per ton at 0.66 grams per ton gold. So that was grams per ton silver, and this was widespread over the area. So there was silver particles clearly or easily recovered, just literally from the sampling and trenching work on the surface. So on the back of that, Patrick Cullen has been working hard to set up a drilling campaign for the group, and this was announced last week. The company announced it had engaged a drilling company to commence work, and this work is being undertaken in Q1. In fact, it starts I think next week, and it's the company that undertaking the work is Envirotech Drilling, and it's that the company will be drilling some 4,000 feet of reverse circulation drilling just to firm up the information it already has, and from that, when those drill assay results come back, of course, the company can then make further decisions about whether the drill samples reveal the shape of the asset, and of course how far it goes, and whether in fact they can expand the actual area that they're drilling. So we're at a very exciting juncture because. Of course, if the assay results come back bearing out what's found there, then certainly the size of the asset can be calculated out, and it could be a very substantial find there. So that's the Pyramid Silver project to date. There are also a number of other projects. The other most active project in the region is the Brunton Pass copper project, and this was acquired as part of a package. There are 24 mining claims over a 1 kilometre by half a kilometre area with widespread copper mineralization. The team were on site last year. Both Patrick Cullen and Patrick Cheetham visited Brunton Pass and did some initial sampling, and the copper mineralization was clearly visible on the surface. So there will be more work undertaken there as we go forward this year. When Patrick Cullen came into the company, he has a lot of experience in Zambia, and last year the Tertiary announced the acquisition of a Zambian subsidiary, retained the director there, Marcel Nally, as exploration manager. Zambia has produced some 900,000 tons of copper in 2020 and is one of the top 10 producers in the world. And these license options were exercised in November last year. There's an area called Jax, Konkola West, Lubila, Mukai, and Mushima North. Jax Tertiary already has a 90% option on the asset and is planning drilling for Q2. So of course we're in March now. Drilling will commence probably sometime in April. So again, this is all very near term. Now, the Zambia Copper Belt, as it's called, is extremely prolific. There are a number of producing mines there. The Kambezi Southeast Copper Cobalt Mine, First Quantum Minerals Sentinel Nickel Mine, the Konkola and Lubambe mining complexes, and the Kalengwa Copper Mine. I hope I've pronounced all those correctly. I believe I have. Now, Jax is already known for the quality of copper there. Drilling in 1999 intersected 1.26% copper over 24 meters and 2.93% copper over shorter meterage. So again, there's an awful lot to go on in Jax, and given it's already producing, it's within the Zambia Copper Belt, that there looks to be great potential there. So, in summary, we've got a company that's currently worth 3.5 million sterling on the market. It has funding in place to progress Pyramid, North Ruth, silver drilling, the silver project, and the Zambia copper project. It has the potential in place to materially move those projects on in terms of valuation and firming up the size and scale of both the assets by the end of the first half of the year. So this is very near-term stuff. And what puzzles me still is that Tertiary's market capitalization is still just 3.5 million. Most companies with an asset similar to this, or a couple of assets even, seem to have a base valuation at microcap level of around 6 to 7 million. Tertiary is half of that, and yet they have made substantial progress, and they already have a discovery which has come about through their own work on the project. Just interesting to note as well, on the Pyramid North Ruth drilling, the geologists that worked with the group and made the discovery last year on the soil sampling is staying on the project all the way through the drilling campaign. So of course he can direct the drilling and put the drill targets in the sites where he believes the asset will be at its most prolific. So lots of news to come in the coming months, but I believe Tertiary, as it stands now, is worth about half the value of similar peer group companies traded on the AIM market.
Okay. You've said you've worked with Tertiary for a while, Alan. So when did Patrick... I'm just trying to get an idea of how long the company's been around for and the recent change with Patrick. Do you think that could be a reason why it's not quite valued yet? It just takes a bit of time for the kind of the new direction, if you like?
I think that's a very valid point, Mark. Yeah, of course, Patrick Cheetham has been the exec chairman all the way through. Richard Clemmy was the MD previously, and Patrick came in as the new MD towards Q3 last year. So he's now got his feet under the desks. Obviously, when a new MD or CEO comes in, they'll have their own ideas as to how a project should be developed, as to how it should be driven forward, and Patrick's got those ideas, and certainly, the Zambia asset is something that he's very, very excited about indeed. But I think, having seen the work that's been undertaken at North Ruth and the scale of the silver skarn, he's the company has two assets which could be on the cusp of delivering a material revaluation of Tertiary. So yeah, I think it could be because maybe Patrick's new, a new arrival, relatively speaking. But and of course, in the background there are other legacy assets as well. The company has a legacy asset in Finland, the Kalkira asset, which it owned. It's a gold asset, and it farmed that out to Orion Resources, and Orion have been drilling there, and there's a net smelter and takeoff agreement there. The asset could be worth up to 2 million. So that's if you add that into the mix, that already takes up a substantial chunk of the valuation of the company as it stands at present. So I don't believe that the assets in any way are reflected in the current market capitalization.
And the direction that Patrick's focusing, you say, is on the Jack's copper project in Zambia and the Pyramid silver gold project. Is that right?
Those are the two near-term projects. As I say, both Patricks were also on the ground late last year at the Brunton Pass copper project, also close to the Walker Lane gold belt. So some work will be taking place there, I believe, in Q2 this year. But certainly the focus for now is the drill team will be they're probably arriving on site as we speak, actually. So we should see work starting next week. And of course, the geologist that has overseen the project to date will be overseeing the drilling as well. So we could get some very exciting near-term news from Pyramid.
Indeed, yeah. As the work starts happening on the ground and some of those results start to come in, start to see some activity there. Okay, good. Well, thank you for that, Alan. So the other company you want to talk to us about is, of course, Sovereign Metal.
Sovereign Metals, indeed. So, Sovereign Metals is it's an ASX and AIM listed company. Now, the company came to AIM just a few months ago, at the end of last year, and the company has a unique asset, and I say unique because it is literally one of the few that exists in the world today. And it's a rutile asset in Malawi. Malawi is known as the warm heart of Africa. It's very strategically well placed, close to what they call the Nakali corridor, which is a great infrastructure, road and rail, and a deep water port on the coast. So the asset is rutile. And what's rutile, I hear you ask? Well, rutile is it's an oxide mineral which is composed of titanium dioxide. Now, titanium is it's available or it can be extracted in a number of forms. Firstly, from ilmenite, and ilmenite is a mineral which yields up to 45 to 50% titanium, whereas rutile yields up to 95%. So, as an asset, it's extremely valuable. The applications for titanium are nebulous. Literally, it's used as a pigment asset. So if you see the brilliant white paint that you buy, say in B&Q, the brilliant white in the asset is in the paint is the titanium. It's also used in toothpaste. It's got a multitude of other medical applications. In clean energy, the wind farms that you see off the shore, they are coated in titanium paint, and titanium, of course, is a corrosion inhibitor, of course, which is needed in that sort of environment. Also used in aerospace, also used in the electric vehicle industry, and a multitude of applications. And it also is a key part of the welding industry too. So the welding rods, titanium forms a key part of that. So together with rutile selling at about $2,000 per ton, the demand, of course, is very high. The biggest producer at the moment is in Sierra Leone. It's the former Sierra Rutile, which was listed on AIM a few years back, which was, of course, bought out by an ASX listed company, and that produces 715 million tons. Now, the Cassia project, which is the name of the asset owned by Sovereign Metals, has been worked on for years by Dr. Julian Stevens. It was discovered some time ago when soil sampling was undertaken. They discovered this significant percentage of rutile. They then widened the search, and currently there are some very strong numbers. There's an inferred asset there of some 605 million tons of rutile. It's also extremely valuable too, because this is the Cassia discovery is the first discovery of a significant rutile asset for some 25 years. There are very few in the world. As I said, the second largest asset is the Sierra Leone asset. So this is actually the largest undeveloped rutile asset in the world as we speak right now. There is also the Malagunde graphite project on site too, so that there is a graphite byproduct of the asset. To date, the scoping work for the area is based on under 50%. It's about 46% of the entire area, and the numbers from that are quite astonishing already. The internal rate of return of 36%, an NPV8 of $861 million, and that's just on 46% of the area. So if that's repeated over the rest of the area, you can get some idea of the size and scale of this. It's estimated, based on the initial scoping study last year, that the asset will deliver EBITDA of $161 million per annum, and a very low operating cost of just $352 per ton, compared to, as I say, that sale price of $2,000 odd per ton. So the assets progress to date. Significantly yesterday, the company announced that Hascor, which is a global manufacturer of welding products, agreed a takeoff memorandum of understanding to so CASIA will supply 25,000 tons of rutile to Hascor per annum, and of course that really is the first step of validation for the asset. Again, referring back to the interviews, of course, we do at Brand Communications. I interviewed Sapan Guy, who's the Chief Commercial Officer, yesterday, and Sapan's very good at explaining in detail the asset and how they're going to develop and take this forward. But I think from an independent standpoint, we've got the first memorandum of understanding, and also an equity research note undertaken by the Australian group Sprott. Now, bear in mind, of course, that Sovereign Metals is also listed on the ASX as well. The Sprott have got a buy rating and a target of $1.40, Aussie dollar 40 cents, for the CASIA asset, which equates in pound and pence terms on the AIM market to roughly 75 to 80p. Currently, Sierra is Sovereign Metals is trading at 25 pence. Gives it a valuation of just over 100 million when set against a net present value for just 46% of the area at $861 million. So you can get some sense of the scale of the asset. But Sprott also made another point too, and I think this is highly significant. It said that CASIA is so far ahead of the other producing assets in Africa, it believes that as much as anything else, there's a very valuable M&A angle. So given the rarity of rutile projects around the world, there's a very valuable additional dimension to the asset of potential M&A. So it's quite possible that a big mining partner, as we see with other projects, a big partner could come in and participate and provide funding to develop the asset. And of course, at that stage, the actual valuation will explode because then it will be it'll be the fast track process that we've seen so many times.
Excellent. Okay, good. Do you know how many other rutile projects there are in the world, Alan?
It's a handful. There are two in Africa. So I mentioned the Sierra Rutile, which is the Sierra Leone rutile asset, and that produces it produces 120,000 tons per annum. There's the Kwale asset in Kenya as well. That produces about 70,000 tons per annum. But between them, those two produce over 32% of global annual production of rutile. So there just aren't other assets around. So this is so significant because of its rarity and because of course we're speaking now, and we're 2 weeks or a week and a half into the Ukraine war, and from an infrastructural standpoint, as we know, welding equipment is always explodes in value when major infrastructural projects are on the horizon. And one would imagine that it's certainly coming out of COVID too, that globally we'll be seeing a lot of reinvestment into infrastructure. So the value of those assets will increase. But the applications that rutile has and the requirement in so many fields of industry really do make this very much a critical mineral. So its rarity and the fact that it is already so advanced really do tick an awful lot of boxes.
And And of course, rutile is not something you would normally think about when you're looking to invest in mining exploration companies, is it? But you've said they're very relevant, and maybe it's not as sexy as copper or something, but it doesn't make a difference, does it? If it's in demand and there's not many suppliers out there, and the valuation of the company is 100 million, so clearly it's being, it's not being ignored, and still upside to be had.
Very much so. And Saban also made another interesting point in the interview yesterday. He said that, of course, the Tesla, when it first started producing electric cars, there were a few cases where the cars caught fire because the batteries caught fire because the car drove over a bump and bashed the battery. So on the back of that, to make the car safe, Tesla or the underside of Tesla cars now has a titanium plate. So, of course, you've got applications in the EV industry. Titanium being as light as it is, it has a multitude of applications in aerospace too. So it is. There are so many uses for it. And yeah, as a headline mining commodity, it's not maybe the most visible or right up there, but in terms of its application, it's probably got a broader range of applications than most of the others that we talk about.
Yeah, and it's ASX listed, isn't it? But of course, you can still buy ASX stocks on some brokers.
No, it's dual listed.
Oh, it's dual listed.
So on the ASX, the EPI code is SVM, but the company listed on AIM last year, and it so it's dual listed, and the stock, the stock listed came in at just over 30p. It's currently at 25p. So and the EPI code is SVML. So Sovereign Metals. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Alan, again, for your time.
Thank you, Mark.
Speak next week.
Speak next week, yeah.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.